All right, let's put the spotlight then on the vibrant MSME sector, understand a little bit more about the moving global trade from analog to digital and what unicorn Shiprocket is adopting as their method. We've got Akshay Ghulati, he's the CEO, International Shipping at Shiprocket, now joining in. Akshay, good to have you on board. Clearly, the country boasting of a very vibrant MSME sector. We've got a lot of potential for exports, but at the same time, the export level continues to remain below their capacity. So according to you, what are some of the biggest roadblocks that's hindering export growth? How do you believe that some of these challenges can be addressed?
Hi. Yes, absolutely. I think MSMEs are not participating equally when we talk about global trade, especially exports from India. And I think the biggest challenge here is access to information. Compliance and regulation, while it has been streamlined in the last couple of years, still tends to be a very big burden for MSMEs because they don't have large teams of accountants and lawyers to be able to help them comb through the paperwork. I think a lot of effort is required here to be able to make it even more seamless than what has been done in the last few years. Shipping globally, exporting should be as simple as it is, for example, with GST to ship from one state to another. It doesn't need to be complex. Our systems need to be integrated better when we talk about shipping bill systems for customs as well as RBI for inward remittances, so that everyone who is working within the legal bounds of the law are able to seamlessly and digitally be able to close their shipments and be compliant. I think this is one very big factor that is hindering MSMEs from being able to participate equally in the global trade revolution. Secondly, supply chain and logistics tend to still be a very high cost component of the entire e-commerce value chain. And while these costs are coming down, I think it is the job of enablers like us, like Shiprocket, to be able to make it even more competitive, to give options to MSMEs, to make it easy for them to onboard, so that they don't have to go through a 10-15 day KYC process with a large offline global supply chain provider. They can do this within 24 hours digitally and be able to be fully legally compliant at the same time and get access to the best supply chain costs. I think as we go forward in this area, of digitally enabling SMEs for global trade, I think that is the biggest roadblock that needs to be removed.
Right, so where exactly and how does Shiprocket come in terms of a seamless solution to international shipping?
So I think with Shiprocket, one of the big things we've done is digital onboarding, right? So you can take all your documents, whether it's your GST, your IEC, which are the two major documents that are needed for any business to be able to ship overseas. You can upload them online on our portal and be good to export in 24 hours. So it's as simple as that. Previously, before Shiprocket, I went through the life of a seller selling on Amazon, eBay, and Etsy. And it used to take me anywhere between 12 to 20 days just to be able to get through this entire process, which is now 24 hours. So I think that's one big unlock that has happened, because a lot of MSMEs actually just drop through the process of this 16 to 20 days because there's so much information that is asked for from them. And a lot of times that is not needed. And I think the second big thing that we've done in terms of an unlock is being able to provide cost-effective and competitive shipping options. Previously, an MSME could only work with one supply chain provider. The cost could potentially be very, very high, which they still are. But with Shiprocket, you get a chance of working with everyone from an India Post to an express player like an Aramex. And of course, through our own services of Shiprocket X, and you're able to choose the right option, the right supply chain provider. At the same time, we don't just help you with logistics, we also help you with enablement. So if you're an Indian e-commerce seller or if you're an Indian exporter and you've never sold online, let's say in the US or the UK, we have a network of partners which are able to get you listed online in international marketplaces, help you with the compliance, while Shiprocket orchestrates the entire supply chain. I think the absence of an end-to-end integrated player like us, we were not there. I mean, there are a lot of startups like us doing this now. So I think that's also great because it's competitive and customers get the best options. But about 3 years ago, it was next to impossible to do it. And the service providers who used to help MSMEs used to charge outrageous fees like, a lakh rupees a month to be able to provide consulting advice on how to sell globally. With Shiprocket, we don't charge anything. It's free. We only make money when an exporter actually ships a product from point A to point B.
And tell us a little bit more about how tech trade is really revolutionizing the cross-border trade for Indian MSMEs. Can you elaborate on specific technologies? Tell us about their impact, in particular within Shiprocket solutions.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest or the most fundamental point of trade tech is moving global trade from analog to digital. That is taking a paper-based system to an online digital system. And I think that makes it compliant, it makes it transparent, and removes the asymmetry of information. And I think that's the key cornerstone of trade tech when we think about global trade. It seems very, 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 very old school that, oh, you're moving from an analog to a digital system, from paper to online. But global trade has been done for many, many years on an analog system, which is, paper-based airway bills. I was speaking to the CEO of an airline a few months ago in Singapore, and he just showed me the amount of paper that it takes for one cargo, for one freighter, one airline, to be able to take a shipment from Singapore to the US. It was a wheelbarrow full of paper that is needed. So that's where the industry is right now. So I think that's one big cornerstone of trade tech. The other thing is using AI and big data analytics to be able to optimize supply chains. COVID taught us disruption to supply chains can basically hamper global industry. We live in such a connected world. And when things like that happen, what you need big data to be able to streamline supply chains. And it's something that we did a great job at. Today, with AI and big data, what we're being able to do is finding the most cost-effective lanes to be able to ship a product from point A to point B. For example, if you're shipping from Delhi to New York, you can take a direct flight. You can go via the Middle East, you can go via the Far East, you can go via Europe, using big data to be able to figure out how you can get product from point A to point B in the most efficient manner, in the cheapest manner, on a real-time basis. Because this has always been done by, freight forwarders, by freight agents in the past, and it's based on their insight and learning, which they've had over many, many years of experience built up. But we're able to do it on a real-time basis. We're able to tell a customer that, use an indirect flight. Don't go direct from Delhi to JFK, use an indirect flight via any of these other locations, and we'll be able to save you 20 to 30% on your freight costs. I think using that kind of data and real-time information helps make trade more efficient. At the same time, we as a company have a stated goal of, being pro-environment and being able to help the environment. So we also try to reduce the number of miles per packet flow. We don't want to be transporting goods all over the world just for the sake of reducing costs. So it's a balance of both of these initiatives. And very soon we'll be coming out with a green delivery option as well on Shiprocket.
Now, the government as well aims for a $1 trillion export target by the year 2030. How can tech trade and specifically Shiprocket solutions really bridge the gap between the MSME capabilities and this ambitious target?
So I think one of the big cornerstones of trade tech, which is going to help India get to that goal of e-commerce exports, is going to be compliance and the streamlining of payments using technologies like blockchain. When I talk about compliance and regulation, countries like China have a huge e-commerce export business because they have these free trade zones where you're able to export from China, let's say to the US or to Europe, within 2 to 3 days, because customs clearance processes, paperwork is very, very streamlined between both the destination and the origin country, rather than currently where it takes almost 4 to 5 days for customs and paperwork to be completed, and the entire supply chain from India to, let's say, North America is another 4 to 5 days. So you're talking about 10-day delivery, whereas a country like China is able to do this in 5 to 6 days. And I think there's a huge initiative that's happening by the government, by the Director General of Foreign Trade. There's a concept paper out on e-commerce export hubs, which will greatly streamline exports and will be a fillip towards getting to this target. The second thing is around payments. I think using technologies like blockchain to reduce fraud in cross-border payments. Right now, a lot of cross-border payment timelines get delayed because you're trying to prevent fraud. You're trying to create trust in the ecosystem. And I think using advanced technologies like blockchain help to do that. And at the same time, will help create compliances and regulations in a much more transparent manner.
And given that Made in India is, really a global brand, tell us about how Shiprocket is really looking to elevate the image, really push these Made in India products.
So Made in India is a global brand, absolutely. And it's a brand that stands for unique, best quality products, which was not the case 15, 20 years ago, right? We used to be bucketed as cheaper products. Today, while India has a competitive edge in many, many products like garments, where we're able to manufacture high quality products at a cost-effective price, we're also known as a destination to get the best quality products. Think of embroidery in garments, think of Ayurveda, think of nutraceuticals. we provide products that are not available anywhere in the world. And I think that's what's really helped the Made in India brand get customer acceptance. You no longer think of a Made in India brand as, an equivalent to any other country. It's actually people want to buy products that are made here. And this has been a huge change that's happened in the last 5 to 7 years, as the image of India globally has also changed. And especially, certain products like Ayurveda, like cosmetics, like nutraceuticals, like jewelry, I think we have to kind of take it to the next level and, make the Made in India brand even better. We've always had stuff like basmati rice and Kashmiri saffron, which everybody knows. But outside of these few products which have a GI, we now need to become more mass market, more broader, where Made in India products actually are cost effective, are best in quality, and are actually demanded by consumers. And companies like Shiprocket help this because a lot of Indian sellers and artisans who produce these types of products traditionally did not have access to global markets because they may be running big businesses, but they may be doing it in a B2B environment as an exporter. And the products don't sell under their brand, they sell under an international brand. So by giving them access to these markets, we're able to further accentuate the Made in India brand, the Made in India stamp, and hopefully longer term create demand for products that are made in India.
All right, thanks so much for joining in.